Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, bonjour, hola. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're doing well. This is Ken at 10, talking as usual about the property market. And today, once more, lots of people have raised queries about the death of Section 21, the new white paper the government's released, which should go through Parliament this year. And Michael Gove has made no bones about the fact that he wants it through as soon as possible to do away with no-fault evictions. In practice, it won't make a lot of difference, in my view, in terms of the ability to remove tenants, because the Section 21 no-fault eviction, meaning that you can actually evict tenants for no reason, was never really for no reason. There's always a reason. If landlords are evicting tenants, be sure either they wish to sell the property, the tenants aren't paying the rent, or the tenants are causing antisocial behaviour or similar reasons. Landlords just don't willy-nilly evict because they're some evil doom monger sat in a castle. I think that's the myth, and that's where the government are coming from this at the wrong angle. Sorry if I sound a bit congested today. It seems that hay fever just won't go away. So what are they saying? They're saying that instead of Section 21, there's going to be still the ability to evict tenants under Section 8 Ground 8 at the moment, which is going to be the ability to evict tenants when there are 8 weeks or more rent arrears. Also, where a tenant has been persistently in arrears over a period of years, but less than the 8 weeks, you'll still be able to evict tenants on that ground. They're also talking about a fairer court system, streamlining that process. I'm not quite sure how that works. Really, they need to streamline the bailiff system as well, so that it's easier for people to actually get rid of the tenants once the court has made the order, because at the moment, there are huge queues at the bailiff's offices as well. So Section 21 goes. What comes in its place? Well, there'll be a new ground which will say, I wish to sell my property and that's why I'm taking my property back, or I wish to move into my property. Well, the reality is, if somebody wants to remove their tenant for other reasons, depending on how easy it is to use these grounds, they'll probably use the I'm going to sell my property ground. And then guess what? When the tenants are out, change of circumstances, they no longer wish to sell their property. And it may well be for other reasons. So the idea that you're going to drill down to this specific reason and therefore landlords will say, oh, I no longer want my property back because Section 21 is gone, is a bit ridiculous. There are other requirements within the new legislation, none of which I think should scare landlords that much. One is that you must consider pets where the situation is that the tenant has a pet. Obviously, you'll do the usual vets and checks with them as with any other tenant, and you can require them, and they're making amendments to the Tenant Fees Act for this, to ensure against damage by the pet. You can also, you have to accept benefit tenants in the same light as you would as private professional tenants. But again, the usual affordability checks and tests and balances will apply. So what does it all mean? It all means things are going to change, but it's not the end of the world. It will scare some landlords away. Some landlords will feel that this is the very vilification we've been talking about for years, especially since Section 24. That's been the big one, and that's unlikely to change anytime soon. This is the inability of landlords to now deduct tax from the interest that they pay on the loans. That's the really big one, and that's the one that's making a lot of landlords sell up right now, and why we have such a housing crisis right now on the tenant side. And I'm afraid that until the government wake up, smell the coffee, and realise that by doing this kind of thing, landlords will exit the sector en masse. And the moment they realise this, that actually there's no one to replace that landlord, the idea that the build-to-rent sector will is frankly frivolous and absolutely bull. It really is bull. And I don't know where the government get the idea that this is going to be taken up. It won't. There's just not enough housing around. So for those landlords that stay, what we're going to find is that's going to be quite fruitful, because as the property market shrinks, less buy-to-let landlords out there, the requirement for properties to rent is not going away. It's not getting any smaller anytime soon. It's getting bigger and bigger every year, and it's going to exacerbate the housing crisis. The government really need to rethink this and work out how they can have a balanced approach where the landlord doesn't feel attacked, and actually there is some incentive to hold residential property as an asset class and investment for themselves and their families. For people who are already in the market, I still believe there's a place for buy-to-let. There always will be. It's a great hedge against inflation. It's a good asset in a pension. You can't actually put it within inside a pension fund, but what I mean is, as a sort of addition to a pension, it's a great hedge against inflation, because rents tend to be ahead of inflation, and certainly with inflation curves. So it is a protection against that, whereas you might find that your pension doesn't quite keep up in terms of its investments. So I hope that's helpful to you. As far as today's concerned, it's raining here today, so I don't know why I've got hay fever, but there we are. And we're looking at a busy day again today. So we'll be back tomorrow reporting in, same time, same place. Until then, stay safe, look after yourselves, and if you can, your family and friends. Ciao.